Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to WWE NXT September 26, 2018 review. This episode was actually a very good one. Very enjoyable main event between Otis and Tommaso Ciampa. This match got me very ecstatic and really excited to watch this matchup. Match was back and forth. Otis looked really good. I think he's got a promising career as a singles competitor someday. Based on what he did with Tommaso Ciampa, I don't know if it was because Tommaso Ciampa made him look good or because he just did it on his own. But Otis looked really good in this matchup, one-on-one with Tommaso Ciampa. If Otis could go ahead and do this again against another competitor where he can be that entertaining and exciting to watch like he was with Tommaso Ciampa, he's got a very promising career as a singles competitor. The other thing that I liked that was building up, we had 2 championship matches announced for 2 weeks from now and 3 weeks from now. The North American Championship will be on the line in a triple threat match with Adam Cole getting his rematch, Ricochet, the champion, defending it against Pete Dunne and Adam Cole. This match I see to be a little bit of a kind of fucked up, if you ask me. Ricochet's got to defend his North American Championship, but Pete Dunne doesn't have to defend his UK title. I mean, wasn't that the point of that matchup? So if, Ricochet had the opportunity to win this matchup, and he did, he would have been a double champion. I mean, isn't that a little kind of shooting Ricochet in the foot for something that wasn't his fault? I kind of don't agree with this. But at the end of the day, Pete Dunne did get screwed out of the opportunity for the NXT North American Championship, but Ricochet is being punished for what Adam Cole did. I don't exactly agree with it, but the match itself should be very entertaining to watch, so I'll definitely keep an eye out for that one as I review it when it comes up. The other match that was announced 3 weeks from now was the NXT Tag Team titles with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong defending against the War Raiders. This matchup will probably be very entertaining. I definitely see this to be a high-quality NXT TakeOver type tag team match. And honestly, I don't see it's going to be a finish. I think this is going to be a throwaway matchup for them to have the NXT matchup, the NXT Champion Tag Team titles at the TakeOver event in November. So I think that's probably going to have a fucked up finish. So my expectations for the finish isn't going to be too high, but I do expect the in-ring work to be entertaining, at least for what it's worth. Storyline-wise, still a lot of build-up going around about who attacked Aleister Black. Still more development going on and on and on. This feels a lot like how they did with Stone Cold Steve Austin being hit by a car in 1999 going to 2000. That was a very good storyline they put together, and they're just doing a little bit more of a twist to it in the sense of they're not having Stone Cold Steve Austin go ahead and investigate for it himself. We have the general manager of NXT investigating it for Aleister Black, trying to get answers for Aleister Black before he comes back from his injury. So I think that that's pretty cool in itself. It leaves you with a lot of storyline build-up leading up to when Black comes back to face whoever did this to him and give us a real big look on this matchup and give him kind of a better matchup than what he had going through the NXT Championship matches that he had and being overlooked. I think this is going to help him be looked more upon because of what happened to him and what's being developed through these storylines. The Undisputed Era is a high suspect of this situation. Velveteen Dream seems to know who did it, but he's not being a snitch about it. He also mentioned it earlier tonight on the show. Nikki Cross seems to know who did this to Aleister Black as well. And it seems like these two people, Velveteen Dream and fucking Nikki Cross, are not giving the audience answers to William Regal about who really did this, which we kind of don't want to get any answers right now. We want this to keep building and building and building till we see Aleister Black back and we get that surprise who did it situation. So I hope they go with that route. They don't get any answers till Black is back in the NXT ring. So that's what I hope we get out of this. Other things that happened. Kairi Sane, she had a good match with another female talent. I forgot the name. Apologize. Don't be mad at me. She's not been used that often on the NXT roster. She's been shown a couple of times, and that's about it. She's not an enhancement talent, so don't get mad at me that I forgot her fucking name. But Kairi Sane, she went on one-on-one match in a good, decent matchup. Shayna Baszler and her have now been announced by Kairi Sane that she will defend her title in a rematch to Shayna Baszler at WWE's Evolution. The announcement of this is very big. I mean, this matchup could have been used for the NXT TakeOver event that's coming up, but because these are the women, I don't have a problem with this. Honestly, I see this matchup should be where Shayna Baszler wins back the women's championship, and they have another rematch at the TakeOver event. So that's what I hope happens. What else could I say about the show? The Street Posses went... the Street Profits, not Street Posses. Street Profits went up against the Mighty, and they had a really good matchup. One of the partners of Street Profits actually had an ankle injury kind of thing going on. His leg kind of buckled, and he couldn't continue. One of the partners on the Mighty went ahead and did a fisherman's hook suplex and got the 1-2-3 and getting the victory. I do think that he got his shoulder up off the mat before the count of 3, but maybe not enough to convince the referee that his shoulder was off the mat. So I guess that's just here or there. Lars Sullivan, he kicked off the show as well. He actually had a match with an enhancement talent, which led to nothing but a next week matchup with EC3. EC3 is now finally getting revenge on what Lars Sullivan did to him backstage several weeks ago. So this should be a very good main event matchup that we'll get next week on NXT TV. Johnny Gargano, very good topic that they threw in there. Johnny Gargano seems to be on a reset. He went ahead, he said, I'm tired of feeling sorry for myself. I'm tired of getting all upset, bent out of shape over this stuff. And I'm just going to go back to being who I was, Johnny Wrestling. I'm going to go ahead and focus on my matches for my upcoming opponents and beat them and move on. And work my way back up to the top kind of thing. So he's in reset mode. This is actually a very good thing for them to do. I think they need to keep Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano away from each other for the next couple of months until WrestleMania weekend. At the NXT TakeOver event in New York for the WrestleMania 35 weekend, they need to have these two guys in their final matchup in Hell in a Cell. That's the best matchup I can think of for a rivalry like this, and with the title on the line at the same time. That's the way I look at it. So honestly, this is a great opportunity for NXT to do this. They have it in the right way to set it up just like that, have nothing going on until after the Royal Rumble weekend, and build their way up to that, and eventually get Johnny Gargano in a matchup where it's number one contendership, and he faces Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. In the meantime, they can give Tommaso Ciampa a couple of opponents to defend his title against, with the one in November and the one in January. If they want to throw a match here and there for a title shot with him on the NXT shows, by all means, go for it. I would be happy to see him in a title defense with the type of match that he had tonight, I was super impressed. So if he can have a match with another person doing the same thing, I honestly do not mind the idea. That's just my opinion on that. What else happened on the show? I think that's really about all there was to the show. There wasn't anything bad. A lot of good things happened, a lot of good storyline development, and the main event matchup itself with Otis and Tommaso Ciampa was a 5-star classic in my opinion. Maybe not that big of a deal, maybe like 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5, maybe not a 5-star classic. But it got me more intrigued than last week's matchup, and I don't know why. A lot of people are talking highly about that match. Now, granted, I'm not going to deny the fact that Ricochet and Pete Dunne didn't have a good matchup. The match just did not end in the type of style that I was looking for. I wanted to see maybe a double count out for a draw, and then have Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era beat the two of them up. Something of that kind of nature to give us reason to see why in the hell they would do something like that, but not in the middle of a match that's going on for like 30, 40 minutes. I mean, that's kind of a waste of everyone's time. And that's the reason why I didn't really review the episode last week. I just didn't see any value in last week's episode. Last week's episode didn't really do any storyline build-up. We didn't get a whole lot of Aleister Black segments where we kind of find out what's going on with who did what to him, and giving us more intrigue and more clues to what's going on. There was just a lot of enhancement talents facing a bunch of young stars that they're trying to show off to the audience, which is fine, but at the same time, all they did was just have a glorified main event with no ending. I kind of find that empty and boring to me. So, I mean, last couple of weeks, I really haven't been too impressed with them, but tonight they rectified that issue. Definitely a lot of good storyline build and very good entertaining action overall. So I have no complaints on the wrestling, and really no complaints at all for storyline build. I mean, for an hour show, they did a lot of stuff to give you storyline build-up for a NXT event, NXT TakeOver event. And what they're doing with the Women's Championship, they've been doing from the get-go after TakeOver Brooklyn. So I have no complaints on that either. So at this point in time, guys, I really got nothing more to say about the episode outside of the fact I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it. It was worth my time. I hope if you guys watched it, it was worth your time. And leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't been subscribed to the channel yet. And hit the like button if you like the video. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a great night. Bye.